Hello everyone. Welcome to our channel for daily news about Russia's war against Ukraine. Please support the channel by subscribing and leaving a like on this video. We need your support to continue bringing you more relevant daily news about the war. Ukrainian drone attack on Russian airfield hits bomb depot and aircraft. Ukraine's general staff reported an attack on the Borysoglebsk airfield in southwestern Voronezh Oblast, Russia on July 5, 2025. Ukraine attacked the Borysoglebsk airfield in Russia's Voronezh Oblast during the night of July 5th, damaging a warehouse with guided bombs, aircraft, and other military assets. The General Staff of Ukraine reported. The airfield hosts Su-34, Su-35S, and Su-30SM jets that Russia regularly uses in airstrikes against Ukraine, according to the military. The attack may have destroyed a combat training aircraft, with further assessments ongoing. NASA's Fire Information for Resource Management System firms detected a fire near the Borysoglebsk military airfield shortly after the attack. Residents in the area reported 8 to 10 powerful explosions around 2 a.m. local time, according to the independent Russian agency Astra. The attack was part of a broader drone campaign overnight across Russia, with explosions and fires reported in at least 6 regions. Russia's Ministry of Defense said that 42 drones were intercepted over a 3-hour period, most of them over the Belgorod, Bryansk and Kursk oblasts, which border Ukraine. The governor of Leningrad Oblast, Alexander Drozdenko, said that 2 drones were shot down south of St. Petersburg, leading to a temporary suspension of flights at Pulkovo Airport. No casualties or damage were reported. The governor of Smolensk Oblast in western Russia said that anti-aircraft units downed 3 drones with no casualties or damage. The governor of Voronezh Oblast on the border with Ukraine also confirmed the destruction of several drones. Explosions were also heard overnight in Cheboksary, the capital of the Chuvash Republic, where video footage shared online showed a fire reportedly at a local industrial site. Additionally, explosions were heard overnight in Engels, Saratov Oblast, with some Telegram channels suggesting that a military airfield was likely targeted. The attacks come as Russia intensifies airstrikes on Ukraine, prompting Kyiv to increase long-range drone attacks against Russian military targets. Ukrainian officials say these drone operations aim to undermine Russia's strike capabilities and bring the war closer to those who enable the Kremlin's campaign. Trump says Putin wants to keep killing and that U.S. supports Ukraine. United States President Donald Trump declared this Friday, 7/4, that the Russian leader, Vladimir Putin, wants to keep killing people, and reinforced that Washington will continue to support Ukraine. The statement comes one day after a conversation between the two leaders and amidst a new Russian offensive with drones and missiles, considered the largest since the beginning of the war in 2022. Trump showed dissatisfaction with the content of the call, stating that Putin seems willing to prolong the conflict at any cost. It looks like he wants to go all the way. That's not good, stated the American president, who spoke to journalists aboard Air Force One. According to him, sanctions were one of the main topics addressed. He understands what may be coming, he said, referring to possible additional punishments. Hours after the conversation, Russia launched a large-scale air attack against Ukrainian territory, firing around 550 drones and missiles. The bombardment was described by the Ukrainian Air Force as the most intense since the beginning of the Russian invasion. The Russian government further hardened its rhetoric by declaring that it sees no viable diplomatic solution to achieve its objectives in the conflict. The position indicates that Moscow intends to maintain its military offensive against Ukraine, even in the face of difficulties faced by its troops on the battlefield. Trump says he is trying to help Ukraine but makes no headway. In parallel, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, stated that he also spoke with Trump. According to him, both agreed to reinforce the country's air defenses, but he did not release details about what was agreed upon. Ukraine is currently facing a shortage of anti-aircraft systems to cover its entire territory, while cities remain at risk of new attacks. Trump also revealed that he had a conversation with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz to discuss sending Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine. However, he said that there is still no final decision on the shipment of the equipment, which is considered essential for protecting civilian and strategic areas. On Thursday, 7-3, Trump had already admitted that the conversation with Putin did not bring concrete progress regarding the resolution of the conflict. Direct negotiations between Russia and Ukraine resumed in May, but remain without results. The last round of talks, held in Turkey, ended without progress, and there is no timeline for a new meeting. Russia resists and demands. During the phone contact, Putin reaffirmed Russia's demands, including the cession of 4 occupied Ukrainian regions, in addition to Crimea, and Kyiv's commitment not to join NATO. Ukraine rejects these conditions and insists on the total withdrawal of Russian troops as a starting point for any agreement. Despite the escalation, a new prisoner of war exchange was confirmed this Friday. The deal, reached in June with mediation by Turkey, allowed for the exchange of detainees between the two countries. The overnight bombings left at least 2 dead and about 30 injured, according to Ukrainian authorities. Ukraine war latest. Russia pounds Kyiv with record overnight drone. Missile attack, 1 dead, 26 injured. Explosions rocked the city of Kyiv for more than 7 hours overnight on July 4th, as Russia launched a record missile and drone attack targeting the capital and other cities across Ukraine. At least 1 person was killed, and 26 others were injured in Kyiv, the state emergency service reported. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said 14 people had been hospitalized, while Timur Tkachenko, head of the Kyiv City Military Administration, in the afternoon, confirmed a body had been found during rescue operations. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia launched a record 550 drones and missiles during the 7-hour barrage. Kyiv Independent journalists on the ground heard multiple rounds of explosions in the city beginning around 8 p.m. local time on July 3rd. And continuing into the early hours of July 4th, the attack damaged apartment buildings, businesses, a school, a medical facility, railway lines, and other civilian infrastructure in multiple districts. Fires blazed across the city, making the air dangerous to breathe. Russia, a terrorist country, has wreaked havoc, Tkachenko wrote on Telegram. The Russians bring nothing but terror and murder. That is a fact. Ukraine's Air Force reported that Russia had launched a ballistic missile towards Kyiv at around 12:30 a.m., and then additional missiles around 2:30 a.m. As officials reported real-time updates on damage and casualties amid the ongoing assault, Kyiv Independent reporters in the city said that smoke from explosions clogged the air even in neighborhoods far from the attack sites. The first air raids in our cities and regions began yesterday, almost simultaneously with the start of media discussions of President Trump's phone call with Putin, Zelensky said in a post on social media on July 4th. This was one of the largest-scale air attacks, deliberately massive and cynical. Russia is once again demonstrating that it is not going to end the war in terror. Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski said that the consular section of Poland's embassy in Kyiv was damaged during Russia's attack on Kyiv. I just spoke with Ambassador Pyotr Lukasiewicz. Everyone is safe and unharmed, Sikorski said. He added that Ukraine urgently needs air defense systems. Russia also targeted other regions of Ukraine with overnight attacks. Downed drones struck property and a vehicle in the city of Poltava, Regional Governor Volodymyr Kohut reported. The strike injured 2 people. Kyiv and other major Ukrainian cities have faced intensified drone and missile strikes in recent weeks, with Russia deploying Iranian-designed Shahed drones in record numbers. Kyiv region, rescuers are overcoming the consequences of the night's terror. As a result of the missile attack, the residential and industrial sectors of Fastovshkina suffered significant damage and destruction. Rescuers extinguished the fire on the roof of an apartment building and a fire in 7 private garages. There were no casualties or injuries. Immediately after the conversation between Putin and Trump, hundreds of Russian drones and ballistic missiles rained down on the Ukrainian capital. According to CBH, Putin clearly demonstrates his utter disregard for the United States and everyone who has called for an end to the war, added the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Harsher sanctions must be imposed on Moscow immediately. Ukraine needs to be provided with all necessary means for self-defense. The Solomyansky district was the most affected. In Vidradny, there was damage to residential buildings and shops. In other areas, a private house, schools, cafes, a garage cooperative, and a service station were damaged. Rescuers are also battling a fire in a non-residential development area. In the district, over 30 apartment buildings, 5 educational institutions, and many private houses were damaged. These were the main news stories from the war of Russia against Ukraine today. Please leave your like and subscribe to our channel. We will return soon with more updates about the war. Best wishes.